16, 2021 to order. Start with roll call.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mr. Dillon?
Here.
Mr. Kella?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Mr. Perez?
Here.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Here. Next, do I have a motion on the, for the approval of the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Kella?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Perez?
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis?
Aye.
Mr. Cox? Mr. Dillon?
Aye.
First on the agenda is citizens to be heard on agenda items. This section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding items listed on the agenda. Anyone speaking on an agenda item is entitled to speak for a maximum of 4 minutes. It's not a question and answer period, and staff and the Plan Commission do not generally respond to public comments. Please note speakers who engage in conduct injurious to the harmony of the Plan Commission shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak. Is there anybody wanting to speak? Seeing none, can move on to old business public hearing. We have none. Moving on to new business public hearing. The first on the agenda is Z121, reclassification of 2800 Schweitzer Road from ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park zoning to ITB Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment Zoning District. The applicant is Centerpoint Joliet Terminal Railroad LLC. The requested action is approval of a zoning reclassification. The purpose is to provide appropriate zoning for a proposed use. Existing zoning is ITC Intermodal Terminal Industrial Park. The proposed zoning is ITB Intermodal Terminal Transportation Equipment. The location is 2800 West Schweitzer Road, west of Vetter Road. Size of the property is 7.5 acres. The existing land use is vacant land. There is a building on site. That's incorrect. Surrounding land use and zoning is undeveloped industrial IT. To the south is undeveloped industrial IT. East IT as well, undeveloped industrial. To the west is undeveloped, but it's in the county, A1 and I3 zoning in the county. Under site history, this 7.5 acre subject site was annexed and zoned I1 light industrial in January 2001. The site was improved with a 16,000 square foot metal building, 2 outdoor racetracks for leisure hours hobbyists. Site improvements also contain an existing well, storm detention pond, and an existing asphalt parking lot that accommodated approximately 100 vehicles. City Council approved a petition for a special use permit to allow a truck repair, parking, and carting facility to relocate to the subject site, and a zoning reclassification from I1 to ITC in April 2019. Under special information, the petitioner is requesting approval of the zoning reclassification to ITB to acquire appropriate zoning for a truck maintenance and repair facility to locate at the vacant space. There's no known user for the site that is currently identified. Centerpoint has acquired the property and would like to market it for a truck maintenance and repair facility in their intermodal park. They provided a site plan and elevations, and you could see those attached, of their proposal. The plan includes 65 trailer parking spaces, 19 car spaces, and 1 handicap parking space. Landscape plan has also been created and is attached. The renovated building would include 3,200 square feet for office and 13,000 square feet for truck maintenance space. Building will be redesigned to include 4 drive-through garage bays. Proposed development plans comply with the ITB zoning ordinance. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and the Public Works and Utilities Department. Existing storm detention will remain on site. A new landscape plan would need to be submitted and approved as part of the future building permit. Sewer and water connection fees, sewer charge fees, and development impact fees will be required as the point of connection. And that concludes our staff report.
Do we have the petitioner on hand?
Chris Fascia on behalf of Centerpoint. Our development team is here, so if there are any questions, we gladly answer those. There is a proposed tenant, so that was one thing that I wanted to add. But otherwise, Mr. Torrey's summary is accurate, and we're here to answer questions.
Can you say who the proposed tenant is going to be?
It's legacy trucking. Their use is exactly in line with what Mr. Torrey explained already.
Okay. All right. Are there any questions from any citizen? Any comments or questions from any of the commissioners?
I have one. If, in reference to that, they'll be working on trucks and stuff, I guess all the oils and the stuff that are taken from them, you've got, or is everything gonna be up to code on how you get rid of it?
Sure, absolutely. We have our engineer here as well if we need to answer further, but we will put in what's called the triple catch basin, which separates the oils from the waters, and we'll, follow all codes and requirements and permits as we go through, so yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other concerns? Any other discussion? Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis,
Aye.
Mr. Cox, Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
Okay, and that will go to city council with a recommendation for approval, the second meeting in April, which I believe is the 19th and 20th session.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is FP 121, final plat of Clarius Park Joliet subdivision Phase 3. The applicant is Clarius Partners LLC. The status of the applicant is the developer, owner, WC Joliet owner 9 LLC. Requested action, approval of a final plat. Purpose is develop one industrial lot. Existing zoning is I-2 General Industrial. Location southwest corner of Youngs Road and Cavalier Road. Size is 23 acres. Existing land use is undeveloped industrial. Surrounding land use and zoning, and to the north is industrial with I-3 unincorporated Will County zoning. To the south is industrial with I-2 zoning. East is undeveloped I-3 unincorporated Will County. To the west is industrial I-1. Site history, the mayor and city council approved the preliminary plat in August 2007 and phase 1 in August 2009. Reapproval of the preliminary plat of subdivision was approved in 2010, 2014, 2017, and 2020 for 3-year periods. Phase 2 was approved in October 2020. Special information, the petitioner is requesting the approval of the Phase 3 final plat to allow for the continued development of the Clarius Park Joliet Industrial Park. Proposed lot layout matches the previously approved preliminary plat. Lot 4, which is 23 acres, is proposing to include 2 future buildings, a 7,299 square foot and 10,374 square foot building for truck tank cleaning operation. Highway Transport has a contract to purchase the subject lot in question to clean interior and exterior truck tanks. They are required by the Illinois Department of Transportation to perform certain inspections on both tractors and trailers as part of their operation. Some required periodic maintenance on the tractors and trailers will be conducted as an accessory use to the operation if needed. No major repairs will be conducted on site. All public improvements will be required as per the subdivision regulations and Public Works and Utilities Department. Park features a new realignment of Youngs Road. Phase 1 public improvements included partial reconstruction of the realigned Youngs Road. Stormwater detention and landscaping will also be provided for as per previously approved plans. Water and sewer connection fees and development impact fees will be required, and that concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have the petitioner on hand for this one?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. My name is Tyvo Tamaru with Clarius Partners and Development.
Do you have anything you wish to add to this?
No, I think Mr. Torrey summarized it very nicely. We're pleased and honored to be back in front of the commission here with Phase 3 of our park.
Okay. Any comments or questions from any citizen? Comments, questions, discussion from the board, commissioners? Anybody have a question?
No.
Okay, very good. Can I get a motion then on this?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call for FP 1-1-21.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Rosanellis.
Aye.
Mr. Cox. Mr. Kella.
Aye.
Mr. Moore.
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
And that one, like the last one, will go to city council's second meeting in April with a recommendation for approval.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next agenda item is A121, annexation of 13.6 acres located at 2700 Mound Road, classification to I2 General Industrial Zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. The applicant is Jason Cox. The owner is Len Cox and Sons Excavating. Requested action, approval of an annexation, classification to I2 General Industrial Zoning, and approval of an annexation agreement. Purpose is to expand the clean fill operations from the adjacent site and prepare the site for future development within the city of Joliet. Location is 2700 Mound Road. The size is 13.6 acres. Existing land use, there's a single-family house currently on the site. Surrounding land use and zoning to the north is I2 General Industrial, and it's an industrial use. South is unincorporated Will County, undeveloped land along the railroad tracks. To the east is unincorporated Will County and it's undeveloped land. To the west is I2 General Industrial, and that's a clean fill operation to the west. Site history, there's none for this particular site. Special information, Jason Cox, a partner of Len Cox and Sons Excavating, requests that the city annex a 3.6 acre parcel that the company owns and classify this property to I2 General Industrial. The proposed I2 zoning request is consistent with the surrounding land uses as shown by the attached aerial map. Cox Excavating owns the property directly west of the subject property, which is in the city limits and zoned I2 General Industrial. Cox Excavating would like to expand their existing clean fill operations from the adjacent site to the subject property. Cox Excavating has utilized the adjacent property for the disposal of clean fill from their excavation business since 1999. Company intends to use the subject property for the disposal of only their fill and will not open the site to the public. Eventually, Cox Excavating would like to sell both properties for future industrial development. The approval of the annexation agreement, and zoning classification will allow Cox Excavating to continue and expand their clean fill disposal operations within the city limits instead of unincorporated Will County, and further prepare the site for a future industrial development. Subject property has an existing single-family house. Cox Excavating has a lease agreement with the current long-term tenant that allows the tenant use of 1.5 acres at the northeast corner of the subject property. The lease agreement allows the tenant to reside at the home until the agreement is terminated. Upon termination of this agreement, no future residential use will be permitted there. Cox Excavating intends to retrofit the house for a future office use upon the termination of the lease. Residential and office uses are prohibited in the I2 General Industrial District unless the use is accessory to the principal use of the property. So these terms of use have been further defined in the annexation agreement. The nearest city water line is located 1,000 feet west of the subject property and is currently an 8-inch line. The nearest sanitary sewer with capacity to serve the subject property is located 2,900 feet west of the subject property. Property will be required to connect to the city water and sewer at the time of building development. At that time, the property owner will be financially responsible for bringing water and sewer to the properties, connecting the properties to the water and sewer lines, and paying tap-on fees. Property owner will also be subject to the city's development impact fee. Cox Excavating intends to seek a separate recapture agreement with the adjacent properties when the company decides to develop the subject property. Sewer and water connection details and fees will be further defined as part of the annexation agreement. The detachment fee for the Tri-Fire District has been paid in the amount of $495.26. Property is not in a library district and therefore library detachment fees are not required. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you, Jim. We have the petitioner. We have the petitioner up here, please.
Good afternoon, John Rambo for Jason Cox, petitioner. We would ask that Jason be recused from voting in this, of course.
That's kind of a low area, so you're gonna add to it. How many feet do you think that will be built up?
It varies from the front to the back. The road goes on a slope, so I would, between 30 and 50 feet over time.
Okay, just a question.
Vertical.
On the backside is that railroad. How do you prevent that from spill going down into the railroad?
We're gonna have to do like correct one-to-one slopes usually.
Yeah,
We'll slope it down and then you have to, put, you know, stabilize the ground, with, grass or turf or whatnot. Stop that.
Oh, okay, thanks, I was curious. Any concerns, questions from the citizens? Any comments or concerns from the commissioners?
Yeah, that house that's there now, was that got like its own well and everything?
Yeah, you have well and septic right there.
Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion for this?
Motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Mr. Roosevelt,
Aye.
Mr. Cox,
Abstain.
Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
And this will go also to the second meeting, second city council meeting in April with a recommendation for approval. Moving on, V-121, vacation of a 13-foot by 253-foot pedestrian easement located at Chicago Street north of Washington Street. The applicant is City of Joliet. Vacation of a pedestrian easement is the requested action. Purpose is for the incorporating the area into the widened Chicago Street right-of-way extension. Location is Chicago Street north of Washington Street. Easement size is 13 feet by 253 feet. Surrounding land use and zoning is B2 to the north with mixed-use buildings. To the south is B3, railroad right-of-way. To the east is B2, Chicago Street and parking lot. To the west is B2 with the former Will County courthouse. Site history, the city vacated the portion of Chicago Street south of Jefferson Street and north of Washington Street in 1986 in order to create a parking lot for the Will County courthouse. Vacation was part of a larger land exchange agreement between the city and the county to complete the Union Station redevelopment and county jail. At the time of the 1986 vacation, a permanent easement for 13 feet wide by 253 feet long pedestrian access was requested and subsequently dedicated. Potential reopening of Chicago Street was discussed for many years. Reconnecting Chicago Street was the top public improvement recommendation of the 2015 Downtown Joliet Plan. City started the process to reopen Chicago Street about 3 years ago upon further discussions with Will County regarding their decision to build a new county courthouse. Chicago Street reopened in November 2020 with a ribbon cutting ceremony that took place on Monday, November 16th, 2020. Under special information, approval of the proposed vacation of the 13-foot wide by 253-foot long pedestrian easement will incorporate this area into the newly widened 80-foot wide Chicago Street right-of-way extension. This vacation, along with the acceptance of the plat of dedication for the Chicago Street extension, which will accompany this vacation petition to City Council, is the last component of the Chicago Street extension reopening project. Plat of vacation and plat of dedication are attached. Public Works and Utilities are not opposed to the vacation request. ComEd, Nicor, and AT&T have all reported that they do not have utilities in the area subject to this request, and that concludes our staff report.
Thank you, Jim. Are there any comments, concerns, questions from the public? Seeing none, are there any comments or questions or discussion from the commissioners?
Nope.
Can I get a motion for approval on V-1-21?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cox, Mr. Kella,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Perez,
Aye.
Mr. Roosevelt,
Aye.
Mr. Dillon.
Aye.
And this will go to the second meeting also in April for City Council, along with that dedication of right-of-way, with the recommendation for approval.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Moving on in the agenda is old new business, not for final action or recommendation. We have none. Under public comments, this section is for anyone wanting to speak regarding non-agenda items and are allowed a maximum of 4 minutes. It is not a question and answer period, and staff and the Plan Commission do not generally respond to public comments. Please note speakers who engage in conduct injurious to the harmony of the Plan Commission shall be called to order by the presiding officer and may forfeit the opportunity to speak. Is there anybody that would like to speak on non-agenda items? Not seeing any.
I have one comment,
Mm-hmm.
just to you, Jim. I'd like to get a hard packet of the stuff that we approve here, because half the time that computer that IT gives doesn't work for me. I don't
Okay.
even have it today. They took it someplace, maybe they can get it working again.
We could discuss that further, yeah.
Yeah, if there's a problem with the city with money, I'd like to know why, but I'd like to have a hard copy from now on. I'm tired of
Okay.
going here and then nothing works.
Yeah, we could work it out, either fixing your,
This happens every couple of months.
is anybody else
That's
having
fine.
that same problem?
Mine had a problem with it.
Okay. All right, we'll look into
John
that
wasn't working
further.
again today, you know.
But it's just the password. You know, they update the password every so many months.
Okay, stick around if you're able to after the meeting, and maybe we'll talk to our IT person.
Well, you just brought them back, you got them updated.
Okay,
But just that, you know, there's no notice before the meeting that it's been changed. Until we get here, we don't know.
I mean, this is nice. All I want is a hard copy. If there's an issue, I'll go in front of the council and ask them then. If you guys can't do it, that's fine.
yeah.
If there's nothing else, can I get an adjournment? Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.